You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. I want to bring in former Virginia Governor Doug Wilder. We're going to talk to him about another issue. I do want to get his thoughts on this very issue here. Governor Wilder, look, this is not hard. Republicans play hardball. They want to take Democrats out. They will do whatever they can to win. It seems Democrats want to play patty cake. They want to sit here and play jump rope. Can we all get along? They the only ones, Democrats only want to talk about bipartisanship here in the nation's capital. And I'm sitting here saying, if you know you are fighting a thug, you might want to fight like a thug with a thug, because they are not trying to play nice. Governor, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
I want to get your thoughts on what
you didn't ask me any questions.
No, well, I want you to respond to that. I mean, what would you tell President Biden that he needs to do, and what would you tell Democratic leaders, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, in terms of how they should be responding with a sense of urgency when it comes to voting rights and the assault on voting rights in this country?
Well, first of all, it's good to talk with you again, Roland, but I've listened to some of the commentary that has been going on before. You don't have to tell somebody that you have their number when you have it. In other words, if you cannot be but for me, then I shouldn't have to argue with you or fuss with you about anything. If your record shows you've done nothing for me, then why should I look for it? And so it's one thing to have what we see going on as it relates to the president, the people who are very concerned with immigration and who comes in and who comes out, and arguing about the 1619 project as to, well, did she really mean what she said in terms of what happened? The effects of the COVID on those people who are already affected at the bottom rung of the ladder. And so I've never believed in arguing with anybody. If you are not doing what I want you to do, I'm going to do all I can to get rid of you, to vote you out of office. There's no need to argue. There's no need to fuss. Now, the next guy might be just as bad. Vote him out. And so don't think these people are not made aware. They know who they're dealing with. They know what they're dealing with. Just look what the current governor of Virginia is doing with reference to blackface. He withdrew the apology, didn't he? Oh, no, he apologized. Oh, did he? Then you got the former governor who now says he's going to bring bold leadership. Well, in bringing that bold leadership, is he saying what we have now is not? And then the first person he kicked out of the box was Justin Fairfax, the lieutenant governor, because McAuliffe says he had credible evidence. Has he produced that evidence? No. He chose to run against and oppose people of color, 2 black women. And to that extent, he's running with the same man who was in blackface, Mark Herring. And so when that's taking place right here, 100 miles from the nation's capital, where are the voices speaking out against that, Roland? Have you heard them?
I have not heard it, and for folks to understand what the governor is speaking of, when the Mark Herring, first of all, when the blackface controversy came out involving Governor Ralph Northam, there were calls for him to resign.
The call came from McAuliffe, the first person.
Right, Governor Terry McAuliffe. Then, of course, when it appeared as if on a Sunday that he was going to be stepping down, all of a sudden a story came out alleging sexual harassment or sexual assault against Lieutenant Governor Justin Fairfax. Then, literally within minutes, I'm talking about within 2 or 3 minutes of that story dropping, Governor Terry McAuliffe calls for the resignation of Justin Fairfax. What then happens? Then they found out there was a blackface controversy involving the Attorney General, Mark Herring. Well,
who had called for Northam's resignation himself.
Right. So what then happens is, when that then happens, now Democrats in Virginia are like, well, wait a minute. Okay, you got blackface for the governor, you got sexual assault allegation against the lieutenant governor, blackface with attorney general. Nothing actually happened there, but here is what's interesting. McAuliffe runs again for governor. You can only serve one term as governor in Virginia per the Constitution. Runs against Fairfax and several other candidates, including several other African Americans, critical of Fairfax. Yet now, to Governor Wilder's point, he's now rescinded his call for Herring to resign and is endorsing Herring as Attorney General. Well, I'm sorry, I'm confused.
I'm not. And that's what I wanted to get to. And I think your people on your show who preceded me in this instance need to not look too far in terms of blaming where the blame is. The blame is with leaders. Now, are you a leader because you get elected to office? No. You are elected to an office of leadership, but you have to make that difference. And where are those voices now raising what you just discussed? As far as I can see, Roland, I have not heard those voices. To the contrary, we've had black leaders saying that the black women that were running for governor should wait for the appropriate time for them to run. So this is not the time, they were saying, for them to run. And they had far more experience than Terry McAuliffe ever had, who never held an elected office when he ran. So my sound off on this is this. Nothing has changed from 1619, nothing has changed from 1607. We have never really addressed the root causes, the real causes, the separations, divided into the extent of dealing with what? Money. And when you're talking about where the dollars are spent, how they are spent, and yet, let's get to this last point that I want to make. Terry McAuliffe has no chance of winning unless there is strong turnout in what? The black community. Can't win without it. But does he worry about it? No. Why? Because obviously he takes it for granted.
The primary is over. Why did you wait? Why not say this before the primary? Why not publicly force Terry McAuliffe to address this issue, force Herring and Northam to address this issue before the primary?
Well, because I wasn't running. You had black people running. Why didn't they do it? Where are their voices now? You ask why I didn't do it before the primary? No, I wasn't running. But I'm doing it now. And where are their voices before or after the primary? Have you heard a single word from one of them or one of those leaders?
So what it sounds to me like what you have is you got folks who don't want to tick off who they think might be the future governor again. What do they lose? Right, and not holding them accountable. So
yeah, I have a post out, as you know, because you read it, Wilder Visions. I stated it all out. I haven't just started being critical. Mm-hmm. I've stopped any numbers of things from taking place. And I get people who call me from all over the country, letters from all over the world saying, thank God somebody is calling it like it is. And let me say this to you, Roland. These calls are coming not just from black people, mostly white people who are saying Virginia deserves better than this reputation. If it's bad when it was somebody else involved, it's bad now. Blackface has never been good. With Eddie Cantor, with Al Jolson, and anybody else, blackface is blackface, and it means just that. Difference, despicable, hatred, and prejudice throughout.
When you raise the question, why aren't those black candidates not saying anything or actually speaking up? when it comes to, let's just say, is it Virginia NAACP? Are there other black groups in Virginia who
But
are?
you asked me why I didn't say something. You didn't ask why those groups hadn't said anything.
No. I'm asking. No, when I'm
I
asking.
know. But let's keep it back on those candidates. Why haven't they said something? And in addition to that, there has been a diminution and almost a lessening of community involvement with the people. I'm talking about the real people. The voters. Oh, yes, we got to have you at election time. After that, we might invite you to a picnic, we might invite you to a party, and we might even let you come to one of our groupings until such time. And we'll even put one of y'all on a committee or something like that. The question is, the NAACP groups, fine people, good people. I was a registered agent for the one in Virginia taking Spider Robinson's place when he left. That group needs revitalization. All of our groups need community support. They need community support, but you cannot and should not ever, and I know you don't, eliminate the responsibility that's reposed in those who are there in elected office, black people who are there. Why have they not spoken?
And so one of the things that we have done, we have reached out to Terry McAuliffe to get him on this show. He did come on my TV One show when he was governor. I used to, I couldn't find, actually I used to have his phone number, but then I got a number that got lost, and trust me, I'll be tracking it down, because the questions deserve answers. Because if you are a person of integrity, and if you call for someone's resignation before, then you should be sticking with it, and publicly saying you should not be running again as Attorney General.
Exactly. And likewise, when Justin Fairfax, who's not been indicted, nor charged with any crime, and yet I couldn't say the same thing about Mr. McAuliffe, and yet he asked people to give him the benefit of the doubt, to believe in due process of law. And the governor of any state has the responsibility to uphold the law. And one of the prime things to do is to uphold the presumption of innocence. He determined that Justin Fairfax was guilty and has yet to show anything that would make you, me, or anyone else believe that he had evidence to show that. If he had it, show it. If you didn't have it, say it. But be person and man enough to own up to what you do and what you say, because all of us are not going to forget. And one of them you're talking to right now.
I take it you haven't heard from Terry McAuliffe.
Well, yes, he did call me shortly after he announced and said he was going to stop by. He wanted to chat, and maybe we could have a beer or something. I said, no, we'll meet at my office if we talk about anything. I haven't heard a word from him since then, nor am I asking him to come by or to call me or to talk. He knows who I am and where I am and the things that I stand for. And I will not ever forget the people who elected me to serve. They had confidence that I would represent them. I hope I have. And I haven't forgotten that I have that responsibility still in me.
Well, you certainly are always welcome to come on this show. All you got to do is call a brother, and when you want to come on and say your piece, just let me know. We'll make that happen. So there's always an open invitation for you, Governor Wilder. Even though, you pledged that little youth group, it's all good. You are more than welcome to come on this Alpha show.
You have always been there for the people, Roland. You and I have had a great relationship during the time we've known each other. That is never going to change. God bless you. Thank you. And I will be back.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it. Thanks a lot. You take care.
All right.
Folks, back to our Roland Mark unfiltered video in just 1 moment.
It's time to be smart. When we control our institutions, we win. This is the most important news show on television of any racial background. Y'all put $2, $3, $4, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30 on this and keep this going. What you've done, Roland, since this crisis came out in full bloom. Anybody watching this, tell your friends, Go back and look at the last 2 weeks, especially of Roland Martin Unfiltered. I mean, hell, go back and look at the last 2 days. You've had sitting United States senators today, Klobuchar and Harris. Whatever you have that you can bring to Roland Martin Unfiltered to support it, please do, because this information may literally save your life.
Watch Roland Martin Unfiltered daily at 6 p.m. Eastern on YouTube, Facebook, or Periscope, or go to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered Daily Digital Show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. Our goal is to get 20,000 of our fans contributing $50 each for the whole year. You can make this possible. RolandMartinUnfiltered.com.